graduated a couple of years ago. And I first wanted to apologize for my lack of dress code. I'm actually traveling this week, and my travels don't require me to dress like the other three panelists. But for those of you watching sixth, seventh, eighth graders, this is not your CBA uniform. What Ryan, Connor, and Dan are wearing on. Like I said, I graduated CBA in 18. I'm over at the Catholic University of America down in Washington, D.C. now. I'm a rising junior there studying politics and philosophy. And I'm glad I could be helping you guys out tonight.
Great. Thank you, Gerald. And Gerald is really the epitome here of dedication to CBA, because I asked him very last minute to hop on this panel. And so that's actually his out of dress code reasoning. And so he is really an example there of dedication to school. Dan, could you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Damasi. I'm currently a senior at CBA, and I used to live in the Lincroft area, but now I moved to Little Silver, so I was very close to CBA. I also went to St. Leo the Great School, shout out to St. Leo's, and at CBA, I'm currently the president of the NHS, and I do a lot of things at CBA. I run like year round. I do cross country, outdoor track, indoor track, and I also serve at CBA. I'm also part of the math team, and I do robotics.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you, Dan. Connor.
How's everyone doing? My name's Connor Dugan. I'm 15 years old. I'm going to be a sophomore this coming year. I live in Shrewsbury. At CBA, I'm involved with the swim team, and I'm in various clubs like the ping pong club, German club, the ambassadors club, and yeah, that's about it.
All right, thank you. And Ryan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan O'Connor. I'm also a senior at CBA. I went to Cedar Drive Middle School in Colts Neck, and at CBA, I mainly partake in the performing arts, theater, band, choir, bagpipes. If you can think of it in performing, I'm pretty much in it.
Excellent. Well, I wanted you all on the call to have a little bit of an idea of our panelists and some of the things that they are involved in, and we're going to learn a little bit more about them as we jump into our questions now. Connor, I was wondering if you would start us off and talk a little bit about what was most interesting to you about CBA when you applied, and why did you decide to apply?
Well, there was so many things that were eye openers when I was in the application process. For example, I went to open house in 7th grade rather than just 8th grade, just to get my toes wet. And 7th grade was great. I saw all these clubs, all these teams, and it was just great. Like all these guys talking to each other, having a great time, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be part of those life-lasting friendships. I wanted to be part of a great swimming team. I wanted dynamic education. I really wanted to be set up for life with CBA, and yeah, those are some things that really caught my eye when I was applying to CBA.
Awesome, thank you. Ryan, I'm going to ask you to answer the same question. If you can think back all those years ago when you were applying to CBA, when you were looking at high schools, tell us a little bit about what really was most interesting to you.
Sure. So similar to Connor, I also went to when I was in 7th grade, I went to the CBA's open house. And for me, CBA just kind of had this atmosphere that just like felt comforting and kind of just felt like home, and it was kind of where I belonged. And that feeling only grew going through the open house, and the way everybody was so prideful about CBA, and just kind of the way everybody saw themselves at CBA, and everybody was comfortable around each other, friendly around each other. There wasn't anything to make you not want to go there. And there was just so much to do, so much to get involved in. Very similar to Connor, the academic rigor was at the level that I felt like I needed and was good for me and could challenge me where I needed to be challenged. So it kind of just called to me.
Awesome, thank you. Dan, could you tell everybody a little bit about what made CBA interesting for you?
Yes, what I found most interesting about CBA is the chance to be on a nationally ranked team. We go, the cross country team, they go to nationals. They've been going for a while now. So I thought it was interesting if I could get on that team and we take a plane out. It's fun. It's like a trip. And also like at CBA, I thought it was interesting how like everyone, we're all brothers here. And see, well, I have one brother, but that wasn't enough. Now I have like hundreds of brothers. So that's what I found interesting about CBA.
Elaborate a little bit on, being involved with cross country and with track and those, going to those national championships.
Well, I haven't gone to any national championships. I'm still working on it. I'm gonna go this year if they
Okay.
have it. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled. But see,
Mhm.
at CBA, we're a very well-known team, established. Colleges look at us, and it's great being on the team. It's like a family, and running's like my passion, and we win stuff. So it's great. Very
Awesome.
fun.
Awesome. Thank you. Gerald, now I ask these guys that are going to be seniors to think way back. You're going to be a junior in college. Can you think way back to when you were looking at CBA for the first time?
Yeah, so now we're talking about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I graduated Oak Hill Academy in 2014. And when I went to CBA's open house, I suppose I went in 7th and 8th grade, like Connor and Dan. What did I see? I saw an abundance of opportunity on the academic front, rigorous academics, some of the best in the area. I saw abundance of athletic opportunities with 17 or 18 varsity sports. I saw 40 or 50 student organizations and clubs, everything from chess to German to business to law to the political side of things as well. Across the board, what I saw was excellency and an opportunity to get involved, to give back to your community through service, to challenge yourself academically, like I was just saying. I wanted to be challenged, so I decided to go to CBA. It's a school that will challenge you, but it will make you into a man. And there is so much wonderful opportunity, whatever you want to get involved in, whether that be STEM or business or law, or any of obviously the sports or the performing arts programs as well. There's an abundance of opportunity for whatever you're interested in.
You actually bring up a good point with being challenged and wanting to be challenged. So I'm going to stick with you for a minute. And could you talk a little bit about, what were those more challenging aspects that you found and how did you work through those?
Yeah, for sure. Your freshman year is going to be that tough year, right? It's the transitionary period. Even my freshman year in college so far, I found to be the hardest year because it's that transitionary period. It is difficult. You're going to get more homework than you did from middle school. It's going to be an adjustment making friends, an adjustment with a uniform potentially. But all those things will challenge you and you will become better and you will learn how to adapt to those things. And it's going to make you a better man. I'm sure it'll be mentioned tonight, all the colleges and universities that CBA students get accepted into, and then all the money in academic scholarships that students are awarded to attend these top schools in the country. I have friends at Yale, I have friends at Dartmouth, I have friends at MIT, Harvard, etc. It is challenging, but that is correlated to the top universities and colleges that our students go to and the amount of money they receive in academic scholarships to go there.
Mm-hmm.
So CBA will challenge you, but it's going to make you and prepare you for the next level, for the real world and for college, and you're going to get into a good school. But please know that although it is challenging your freshman year, you are going to have plenty of resources available to you, tutoring, obviously mental health, you're going to have guidance counselors and all that. So know that you're going to be supported, but it is going to be challenging at first, and it's going to pay off in the end.
Thank you for that. That's a really good point to bring up, the support structure and system overall at school. Connor, could you talk a little bit about, since you just finished your freshman year, can you talk a little bit about what did you find the most challenging?
Yeah, for sure. So my freshman year, there wasn't that one thing that like really took me a while to get over. It didn't take me I had a couple little things that I had to work out on my own, right? And if I look on my notes here, So middle school, I had a block scheduling. I had 90-minute classes, and and I had barely any homework. And
Mhm.
this year, my world was shook. We'll say first week, and I had every single class for 45 minutes, and I had homework for all of those classes every night. And that was hard at first, but part of the thing that CBA, it's hard, but part of the great thing about CBA is it allows you to adapt and become stronger. And yeah, so block to every day was one of my challenges, but you get over the hump. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Another thing was balancing my assignments. I didn't know what to put first on my list. I didn't know what homework. I don't know what homework I should do first. I didn't know if I should study for my test first, and that was kind of tough for me. But I eventually got myself into routine. And if you hear me talk tonight, I'm really gonna talk about routine a lot. Getting into a routine is very important, and you all might be saying, "Wow, really? Of course, a routine is important." But if you can establish a system that works for you, where you're productive, it really makes life so much easier. And I don't like a routine for me would look like getting home, eating a snack while I talk to my mom about my day, getting started on my work, going to swim, coming home, eating something real quick, and just finishing all my work. And that would bring me to about 10:30. And a great tip I want to give you is if it gets late at like 10:30, the library is very important. That really helped me. And I know I'm kind of going off topic a little bit, but just to finish this one thought, the library and cafeteria the next morning was very helpful for me. I could be tired at 10:30, and I could just pack it in and finish all my stuff in the morning. That was really helpful. And I would say the last little challenging thing, this was really more in the winter, when CBA swim, and I also swim for the Y, when the Y was in full effect, but balancing swim and school, just going from practice to practice back home. It was a little challenging, but I found what worked for me. I did some of my work in school when there was a sub. I did some work on the bus. I did some work when I got home, and it all worked out. So that would be my couple challenges I dealt with this year.
Thank you. And what I heard, a common consistency in that routine is snacks. Snacks seem to make your routine that much better.
Yeah. You burn a lot of calories thinking and doing work at school. So you gotta, even if you have to have like a granola bar in the hallway, it's okay. The teachers get it. Like, they're not gonna yell at you. They're not gonna be like, put your food away. No, they're gonna let you eat it because they know how hard you're working. So
Snacks are important. That's a life motto. Life motto. Snacks are important.
Yeah.
Ryan and Dan, I'm going to ask you each to talk a little bit about, so Connor talked us through a little bit about freshman year, and so did Gerald. And I wanted to ask you both to talk a little bit about sophomore, junior year, and now where you guys stand getting ready for senior year, and how your experience has transitioned over those years. So whoever wants to go first.
Well, okay, so most challenging at CBA, you're talking about years. The first day at CBA was the most challenging for me. See, I went to Spanish class. I'm walking the halls. I go to Spanish class, and I walk in, and then the teacher's talking Spanish, and then she keeps speaking Spanish for the whole class. And I can't believe it. I'm like, this isn't fair. I don't know any Spanish. How am I supposed to survive this class? But see, I was thinking about dropping out after that first day, and my friend, he actually did, but I got through it. I didn't drop out, and now I'm really happy that I didn't, because looking back, now I learned so much Spanish. I'm better in my speaking ability. I'm confident in myself now, and really at CBA, that's what it's about. You get through the challenges, you learn how to manage your time, and now it's just good to work hard and achieve things at CBA.
Very good point. Ryan, what about you?
Very similar to what Connor was talking about with time management. and on top of time management, just organization, but specifically organization that works for your strengths. I know for me, I have constant like OCD type things, or like I know teachers will normally post assignments on Power School, but I also have to write it in my planner and use the planner. It's great. I write everything down in my planner, what I have to do that night and what's due the next day and stuff like that. It's one of the greatest resources that I love from CBA. But finding what works for you, and it just kind of continues through sophomore and junior year. You find that system freshman year, you learn how your time management goes, you learn what system works for you, what system doesn't work for you, and you just kind of echo that. Every year you'll have your most challenging class, whether it's your science or your history. You just kind of learn, like, for me, I got to do my most challenging class when I get home right away, because that's when I have the most brain power left. For some people, it might be, I got to do it last because I got to get through the easy stuff because I know I can do that well. And then I'll put everything I have left right before I go to bed to doing the tough stuff. But you just kind of got to find what works for you and stick with it. And if something's not working, then change it and see if that starts working better.
That's also a really good tip. Definitely some valuable advice also that's being shared here with our panelists. I do want to, so we have a couple of more questions that I'm going to pose to our panelists, but I do want to invite all of you, if you have questions that are on your mind, to go ahead and to type those into the chat feature so that I'll begin reading those out to our panelists for them to answer as we go through. So I just invite you to use that chat feature and ask away anything that's on your mind. Gerald, you talked about, I want to flip to a little bit more of the alumni aspect right now. And you talked about that freshman year of college being a challenge just simply from a transition standpoint, and it was something and somewhere new. But could you talk a little bit about how you felt prepared, or did you feel prepared from your 4 years at CBA going on then, in your case, the Catholic?
Yes, absolutely. CBA totally prepared me for college, and that's not just an opinion of mine. It's an opinion of a lot of the alumni I speak to. I actually get the chance to speak to a lot of CBA alumni because for a couple of summers I worked in our development office, so I was in touch with a lot of alumni, and alumni will tell you that CBA prepares you for college at an extremely higher level than any other high school in the area.
Mm-hmm.
First, academics, of course, is most importantly, CBA's rigorous academic system, the extra homework you're going to be getting, those tough teachers like some of the other panelists are talking about, all that's going to prepare you and, again, make you stronger and allow you to adapt better when you get to college. But aside from academics, when you're thinking about things like leadership and becoming an other-centered human being and developing a moral conscience and practicing, leadership skills, all of those things CBA will prepare you for as well. And those things will help you in college too. Things like becoming more people person, or a better people person, more personable. All those things in that community that CBA builds. You're going to be supported by friends and your CBA brothers. And all those things are going to help you in college too. So you have the academic side, but you also have that other side where you're that character development. CBA really, and it's because of our Catholic identity, CBA really prepares you for both of those things. And I can attest firsthand that you will be prepared for college when you do go there after you graduate from CBA.
Is there one thing that you can think about that, when you were maybe in the weeds with it at school at CBA, you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do this research paper, this, that, or the other thing. But when you got to school, you were extra thankful because maybe your new friends at college were really struggling?
Yeah, for sure. Especially early on at Catholic U, when my roommates or some of the other people on my floor were complaining about homework assignments or lengthy papers that I found relatively easy because of my time at CBA. Again, the hard work you're going to put in at CBA, the extra rigor, the rigorous plans will only prepare you for the future and for college. And again, my college experience is easier because I went to CBA. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So I want to touch on one more sort of more academic geared question, and then I want to talk a little bit about community. We, without fail, we always get a question about homework. You know, we always, and Mr. Noonan talked about it a little bit the other night, but I think that the sort of the word on the street about CBA, one of the words is how much homework there is. There's hours and hours and hours of homework. And so I think it would be helpful for each of you to share with everyone about your homework journey per se, and sort of maybe how that's fluctuated year to year or class to class. And so Ryan, why don't you go ahead and take that one first?
Sure. So for me, for homework, first off, I do it a little differently than a lot of people. I don't have the opportunity to go to the library in the morning because of band, which is period 0. I'm there every morning. That's not always true. I'm in 2 bands, and so I meet every single day. I go in the morning, so I have to get all my homework done before I go to school. So for me, the late nights are kind of where I push through more than the early mornings. But homework overall, freshman year, you feel like some of them start to take a long time, and it's only because you're not used to having it to take that much of a long time. So you work slower because you start to procrastinate and you think that you'll get through it sooner than you actually will. It really comes down to what a lot was saying before is time management and organization, keeping yourself from getting distracted, like knowing what you have to do and how much you have to do it and how much you have to do is really important, because some nights it won't be that much and some nights it'll be a lot. So organization is really key. And then freshman year seems to be one of the toughest for homework, just because you're adjusting to that and you're starting to figure out what works for you. So freshman year seems like a lot, and then sophomore year, you start to figure it out, it dies down a little bit, and then junior year, it stays about the same, but maybe it goes down a little bit. And it depends, you know, some nights you'll have a lot more than others, some nights won't have that much. It just kind of depends on your schedule and all that kind of stuff. But I think the best tip is organization and time management.
Great, excellent. Connor, what would you say?
Yeah, by the way, I can only speak on behalf of freshman year, but really everything Ryan said was on point. Like he said earlier, use that planner. It really, because some teachers they don't use the LMS, they forget, or they just don't use it. That planner really comes in clutch. Like you can highlight, the best thing about it is it's yours. Like you can't edit the LMS, you can edit your planner. You can highlight, you can make notes to yourself, you can do anything that works for you. And yeah, he's like Ryan said, it's really, it might seem like a lot at first because you're not used to it. You're not used to doing 3 hours of homework in middle school, but you live and learn, and it just feels like it's becoming easier. And a big tip I can tell you is put that phone in another room. Because if like homework will be challenging if you use your phone and you procrastinate. If you get caught up in a YouTube video or a movie on your phone or a Netflix show, and it's like 8 o'clock out of nowhere, it's goes from 4 to 8, and then homework will seem like it will never end. But if you put your phone in another room and you just get what needs to be done, it's a cakewalk. Not a cakewalk. It's not a cakewalk. It's easier than it sounds. It's easier than it sounds. I think that's the way to put it.
So don't be as scared as everybody makes it out to be, right?
Yeah, it's also what was it? You spend a little bit more time studying for tests and quizzes more than doing busy work like worksheets and packets. That's what I would personally recommend. Well, not recommend, but I would do that. I would get your busy work out of the way in school, on the bus when you get home. That way you have the night to study. And yeah, but there's going to be probably, I don't know if you guys got away with doing studying like a night in advance on tests and quizzes, but that's probably not going to, I highly recommend you at least look at the study guide, or you organize the study guide 2 nights prior to the test or quiz. That way you're ready. But yeah, studying is really, there's definitely more studying than busy work.
Very good. Yeah, one of our, we did a couple of sessions a few weeks back for our incoming freshmen. And one of our other rising seniors said, yeah, if you were that guy who procrastinated and if you waited till the night before to rate your paper, you're not going to do that in high school, just in general. And I think those are also certainly words to live by. Daniel, I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about being involved at CBA. You're involved in a couple of different things. You are an active athlete, you're on NHS, you're part of the leadership at school. So if you could talk a little bit about those involvements and what it was like getting involved as a freshman.
Well, at CBA, it's surprisingly easy to get involved in many things. Like, see, you could do like whatever you want, but you can't do as many things as you want. See, you have to pick something that you like and stick with it. See, with running, I like tennis, I like running. See, but I had to pick running because you could only commit to one thing. See, at CBA though, you could do a lot of things and it's really a great school.
Great, awesome, thank you. Ryan, could you talk a little bit about the different things that you've been involved in over the years?
Sure. So freshman year, I started out on crew, and I really enjoyed the sport, and I stuck with it through halfway through sophomore year. And sophomore year, I was asked by the current band director, Mr. Lopez, to get involved with the show and play piano for the pit band. And in doing so, I remembered how much I loved to perform and be involved in music. And so it was the last day of the first weekend of shows, and I decided to leave crew for no reason of not liking the sport. It was a really fun sport, and I made a lot of great friends that I'm still in a lot of classes with and still very friendly with. But there was just something that called to me for performing, and I knew that I just had to go back to it. So for me, just kind of realizing like that's where my heart just kind of lies is in performing was a big thing that CBA taught me.
Awesome, awesome, thank you. I think it's great to hear about how you've, sort of an evolution of involvements and development within yourself of things that you really enjoy. Connor, so you mentioned ping pong when you were introducing yourself. So my question for you is twofold. I want you to talk a little bit more about the infamous ping pong club, but also if you could talk about enrichment period and how that fits in and what that allows students to do.
All right, so ping pong, like I would 99% recommend it. It's a great way to make new just hanging out with all your friends. Oh, am I frozen? Am I good?
You're good now, you're back.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah, but it's a great way to bond with all your classmates, with all your buddies. Just play ping pong. Like, honestly, we all play for like 2.5 hours, like on some days when we don't have anything. And even Brother Frank is so laid back and chill. He will literally just let you like go to the library, get something quick done. You can come in at like 3:30, like, and that's also great. Brother Frank's there. He just has fun with all you guys. Like he'll play sometimes, so you can get bragging rights if you beat him. And but it's a lot of fun. I really, really, really encourage ping pong. It's awesome. And enrichment. So enrichment is something at CBA. It might have something similar to other schools, but so basically what enrichment is in like September, middle of September, maybe end of September, October, you're going to have a club fair, and you're going to go to all these different classrooms, and you're going to see what clubs you want to go to during enrichment. And enrichment is almost every Wednesday, and because you might have like an assembly or something, but you go to these clubs they're kind of like the lower credit clubs that don't require as much
You froze again. You're frozen again, my friend. So enrichment, it does not have you don't have to, they're clubs that for the most part, you're not dedicating the same amount of time to. Daniel or Ryan, you want to talk about what enrichment period is? I think it's a great way to explain how you can be involved in some things when you're also committed to sports or the show or music after school.
Sure. So it just enrichment gives an opportunity to either explore something new or further something that you're already in. You kind of go where you please, and every Wednesday the list comes out of what teacher is running what. And on top of that, it's also a great period to catch up on something or get extra help from a teacher if you need to. There's almost always a teacher that's available for science, English, and the different subjects. Or if you want to just make a pre-meeting with the teacher that you have and agree to meet during enrichment, that's a great time to do it. It's 40 minutes, and it's a perfect time to learn something, or if you're not quite understanding something, go get help from them for that. So in terms of clubs, it's really good, but in terms of also getting extra help, it's really good as well.
Awesome, thank you. Gerald, so when you were at CBA, you were student council president. Could you talk to everybody about being involved in the leadership of the school, the student leadership?
Yes, absolutely. I didn't mention it at the beginning, but yes, my senior year, I was fortunate enough to serve as our student council president. It was a wonderful opportunity to give back to the school. And kind of like what I was saying at the beginning, CBA provides so much opportunity, again, in all of these academics, extracurriculars, athletics, service. I really wanted to take that opportunity my senior year to give back. I guess the two main jobs of student council president was one, to be an events coordinator, to help put on a lot of the events that I almost said university, the high school does. And then in addition to that, represent kind of the student body to the administration and to outside groups. So I had a lot of opportunities to interact with our administrators, represent the students' voices to them, as well as outside groups and out the brothers in the district we're in for our brothers. It was a wonderful opportunity to give back. And it's really across the board, you'll see that so many wonderful leadership opportunities. And those leadership opportunities will, again, train you for the next level, college and beyond, and really prepare you for the real world, so to speak. So I hope many of you decide to get involved in some leadership opportunities when you're at CBA, whether that's captaining your sports team or leadership in the Pegasus and a lot of the arts groups, just like Ryan is. It really is, you really have an opportunity to thrive and to really give back to your community at the same time at CBA. It's great.
Awesome, thank you. So we have a question here about, and this is a great question because it's not something we've talked about too much just yet, but touching on the Catholic identity of CBA, the Lasallian identity of CBA, and obviously everyone comes into school with their beliefs, their values, and we all come from different backgrounds and what we've learned growing up. How much of what you've learned in terms of theology, religion at CBA, how much of that has helped you to evolve on your own? Have you ever felt that, there's been a time where you've been told you have to believe XYZ? Talk a little bit about that kind of religious exploration, which is certainly at the core of who we are, but your feelings as individual students. Gerald, why don't you take that first?
Sure, that's a great question. And that's a question I always got too when I was working open houses or things like that. CBA, first and foremost, CBA is a welcoming place to people of all different faiths, backgrounds, races, etc. But we are a Catholic institution. And I think what's central to a Catholic education is not only the rigorous academics and the wonderful extracurricular opportunities, but this idea of moral development, character development, that we're not only making you smarter in science and math, but we're going to make you into a virtuous and others-centered human being. And that's what CBA really focuses on. And that's when you see things like the service requirement, you having to give back a few hours each year in the form of service hours. I mean, that's something that was central for me and is directly correlated with our Catholic mission. There are opportunities for Mass on campus, both daily Mass in the mornings that you're not required to attend, and then school-wide Masses that everyone will go down to, and it will be incorporated into the school day. So it really is a welcoming place, but our Catholic identity is something that is central to our university, or to our high school, sorry.
Thank you. Ryan, could you answer that one? And I think especially interesting since you came from a public middle school to Catholic high school. So talk about those differences and what that component of education has been like for you.
Sure. So for me, I grew up, I'm Roman Catholic, attended CCD, and there was similarities between CCD and theology class, but theology always took it the step further. There was always the aspect of you're learning theology, the basic of the religion, why it formed the way it did, and everything. But very similar to what Gerald was saying, it throws in the moral aspect and why we believe what a good human is and what makes a good human being. And that's something I think CBA can attest to very well for preparing you for just the moral aspect of what theology talks about. And every day when you go in, you'll learn different stuff about your faith, but you also see how it connects to being a good person to everybody in the world.
Thank you. I think that that's a really important point there, in that moral compass. Dan, what would you add and so for you coming from St. Leo's to CBA, not necessarily that, that change in, you had some of those foundationary principles going through St. Leo's, but talk a little bit about what learning theology has been like and just the principles of LaSalle at CBA.
Well, what Ryan and Gerald really talked about, the moral, it's true. They're not just teaching you the Catholic faith. It's really teaching you how to like conduct yourself and like hold yourself in public and how to be like a true LaSallian student in public. And see, at CBA, we're not just learning the basic academic schedule. We're learning more than that. We're learning how to be men and hold ourselves in the world. See what the service program does at CBA. It's not just, yeah, you could just wing it and do the minimum service requirements. That's okay. That's fine. But if you really go into it, you can learn how to like help people. And see, now at first, I didn't really care too much about it, but now after like doing different things like Best Day at the beach, we help kids with special needs have a fun day. And then I did another camp at Aslan. It's Aslan Youth Group. It's like underprivileged kids in the Red Bank area. And you learn so much from these and how to really be a man of the faith.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you all for bringing up the service aspect and just community aspect of CBA, because we hadn't yet talked about service and community service overall. Can someone tackle talking about our schedule and our letter day, 6-day cycle schedule and how the classes rotate? Who wants to try their hand at explaining our schedule?
Do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
By the way, sorry I lost you guys. My connection was lost, so
That's all
I'm
right.
back.
Living in a Zoom world, that's what happens.
Yeah. So the schedule. So it's an A to F day schedule, and every class is 45 minutes except for bio lab, which will come on one of the A to F days, which is 2 periods, so it's an hour and 30 minutes. And so you're gonna have English, your English class, your math class, theology, science. What am I missing?
World language.
Spanish and in history. Those 6, you're gonna have those every day, and then you're gonna have a different special. You're gonna have comp sci 2 of those days, gym 2 of those days, health 1 of the days, and what's the last one I'm missing? Oh, it's the bio lab. It's bio lab. So, and it mixes up every day. And so basically what happens, so this year I had English and theology 1 and 2. And so let's say A, C, and E days, I would have theology, then English. And then the other days I would have English, then theology. And basically, so how 3 through 8 work on the days is, let's say I have Spanish and then math on A day, and then B day, Spanish would move to 8 and math would move to 3. so it just keeps moving in that direction. So I think that covers it, right?
It does, yeah. I think of an especially helpful thing, at least this is what I have heard from a lot of freshmen, is to print out your schedule. You can print
Locker.
out your
Put it in your
schedule
locker.
from your Power School account and put it up in your locker. Or put it, tape it into your planner that we give out at the start of school. And that way you see that A through F day, you see that in front of you and you can see the order in which your classes go. And that's really helpful. I think it does take a little bit of getting used to in those early weeks. But again, it's always just about asking for help, or, you might know your schedule, but forget which direction it is to the 400 to get back to the 400s or over to the 500 hallway. And you just ask a teacher in the hallway, or you ask another student in the hallway, and everyone, without a doubt, will point you in the right direction. I think even beyond freshman year, you go on through sophomore, junior, senior year, you have that day where you get a little turned around in the schedule. I'm going into my third year, as a staff member at CBA, and the schedule still gets me turned around. And so it's always just about asking, for help, or asking in the main office. You get a little bit of a bye the first couple of weeks of school, where the ladies in the main office will print your schedule for you. They're really fantastic like that. And so, there are those resources to make sure you're getting to the right place at the right time for your classes themselves. And also, just to talk about, Ryan mentioned zero period with jazz combo and jazz ensemble. So zero period is that before school starts, and there are several classes that do meet during zero period, jazz being one of them. There's also a digital media class that meets during that time. There is robotics that meets during that time. There's science team that tends to meet during zero period as well. I might be forgetting a couple of actual organized things. But then that's also, zero period is also a time that teachers use to offer extra help. You might find an occasional club meeting that takes place during zero period in that time period before the school day starts. That is what we're talking about in terms of when the school day starts. Zero period runs from, is it 7:30 to 8:10? Right, so 7:30 to 8:10. Freshmen need to be in homeroom by 8:15. And then the bell rings at 8:20 for homeroom itself. We have a 10-minute homeroom, and then the school day starts with those 45-minute classes. And the last bell rings at 2:30 in the afternoon. And so that is sort of the time frame around the day itself. If you guys could share, what have some of your favorite volunteer or community service opportunities been that you've participated in, whether those that you've done with CBA or things that you've done on your own? What have been some of your best service experiences? Connor, why don't you go ahead first?
Yeah, so one trip we had was as a swim team near Christmas time. We went to the Romero Center in Camden, where these kids, they're not as fortunate as we are, and we gave them gifts. It was kind of like a Secret Santa, and we gave them gifts for Christmas, because some of them some of them didn't even get gifts, so that was like their only gift. And the other thing that got me like all my hours was Holiday Express. And some of you probably know, if you're from like the Red Bank area, you probably know that they're the band who plays the whole town of Red Bank near Thanksgiving. And yeah, that's right. But they also they play at some of the centers with the disabled, the sick, the lonely, the old, and yeah, they play music, and they serve them during Christmas time. And what they also do is they give gift bags. And what we do at Holiday Express at the warehouse in Eatontown is we help pack those bags, and the team delivers them to these places. And so, and I love doing that because it's really good knowing that you contributed to someone's life during the Christmas time when it's not as easy for them as it is for you. So I highly recommend Holiday Express, and it's enjoyable too. If you get a couple buddies to do it, you can really have some fun. So
Wonderful. Thank you. Gerald, why don't you talk a little bit about service that you were involved in when you were at school?
Sure, absolutely. I was lucky enough in May and October of 2017, so the end of my junior year, the beginning of my senior year, to travel to Montana to a Native American reservation there with about 12 other students and 2 faculty teacher chaperones. And I can't even begin to describe how wonderful of an experience it was. We were working in a school, another LaSallian school, helping out some of the, again, very less fortunate students there. And again, this is what CBA is all about: becoming others-centered, loving people in the church. It really was a wonderful experience, being immersed in the Native American culture, learning about some other people's lives, and also building community amongst you as a group, the 12 or so students that went. So that was my opportunity, and it even counted towards a lot the service requirement that I had to attend. So, or I had to complete as a student. So as I mentioned earlier, you're all going to have to complete service hours. A lot of these service hours, CBA is going to provide you opportunities to complete them, sometimes right on campus, and sometimes they're going to offer opportunities to go to the Romero Center, which is in Camden, New Jersey, to Montana, and many other wonderful opportunities as well. So I loved all the service opportunities CBA provided.
Awesome. Dan, what has been the best or most meaningful service opportunity or volunteer opportunity for you?
The best or the most meaningful service opportunity for me by far, it had to be the Aslan Youth Ministries group.
Okay.
We did it in Red Bank. It's close by to my house. And so like first, it's just like all these kids here, you don't know what to do with them, but they have it set up very nice. And it's like the kids, they really love you. And it's like you actually have fun, like enjoying the day with them and spending time with them.
Mm-hmm.
See, so what we did, one day we went to the beach, and they got a kick out of that one. And then other days we went to we did classes too. Like I taught them ping pong one day, and they do arts and craft and everything. It's just great to see their smiles, and it really leaves an impact on you. Like
That's an awesome message. It's great to see their smiles. That's a really awesome message. Ryan, what about you? What's been the best volunteer opportunity that you've been a part of so far?
For me, it was probably, and it's one of the things that I miss most from Crew, is that we would do Special Olympics every other weekend. And then at the end, CBA, and then I think Princeton does Special Olympics as well. So we would actually go to Princeton and race with them. So they would race against other kids and adults with special needs, and then we do a relay with them, which was always really fun. And so it's probably one of the things I miss most about Crew, because getting to just hang out with them and laugh with them and show them rowing and all that kind of stuff was just really fun and really meaningful, because they clearly love being with everybody, and it was just really nice.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, as we're getting toward the end of our time together here tonight, I am going to oh, wait a second. Great question. Yes, we certainly can talk about that before we move on to my last question. Let's talk a little bit about transitioning from a co-ed middle school to an all-boys school, and what that transition is like. Do you all get an opportunity to interact with young ladies? And let's talk about that a little bit. Connor, having just had that transition so fresh in your mind yourself, why don't you talk first?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, it's really not an issue at all, I'm telling you. At first you might be like, man, how am I gonna keep close with all my girlfriend, like all these friends that are girls? Like, what am I gonna do? Like, go to the RBC football games, go to your public school football games. And I didn't, obviously this is not how I pictured it, but Mrs. Macarella said, like, one senior at one of the past calls, he was like, the ladies love the CBA guy. And that's true. They seriously do, because one, they know that like they're not seen any girls in school. So they're like, all right, he's definitely interested in me if he's interested in anyone. But they in all seriousness, they do love the CBA guys. Go just football games from other schools, and I mean, I'm sure most of you have Snapchat. Just keep up with Snapchat. Like, I don't know, that's all I can. It's really not an issue though, and plus, like, with school, like, if there was girls, there's certainly going to be a couple more distractions. Like, there's really no distractions at CBA. You know what you're getting every day. Just all boys, just having a good time with your friends. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you. Ryan, why don't you go ahead and take that one? What's your opinion?
So for me, the no girls aspect, I just enjoy how when it's just a bunch of guys, there's a little bit more relaxation. And for me, one thing I noticed very quickly is that the popularity contest doesn't really exist as much anymore. Everybody kind of has their clubs and activities. And obviously, as with anything, you're going to be closer with the people in those clubs and activities. But you all kind of are just friends with each other and you respect each other. And you know, like, this kid's part of theater, this kid's part of basketball, this kid's part of baseball. And, like, you're all still buddies with each other, but there's nothing to be like, oh, I got to be the big basketball star because I got to impress everybody. And so that kind of fades away a little bit more, I feel like, at CBA. And you become a lot closer with the people that you're in clubs with, but you also become closer with people who are in the classroom with a lot. Like, you have a lot of similar people that you'll find in a lot of your classes. You become very close with them. And so for me, the popularity contest aspect of not really existing was just something that I felt very comforting.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if that's a perspective I've actually ever thought about before. So that's a welcome perspective. Gerald, I was wondering if you could address that question, the transition of going way back from a co-ed middle school to CBA, and then now going off to and being at a co-ed college. So going from that co-ed environment to a single sex environment and back to a co-ed environment. Because I think a question that I have gotten frequently is, okay, but is my son going to be able to, integrate with young ladies and do it in a respectful and kind way?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a wonderful question. And the two students that spoke before me were exactly right. There's going to be, just because you're not sitting next to a girl in math class at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning doesn't mean you're not going to be able to meet girls during your high school career. There are plenty of opportunities, CBA sponsored events that you could bring girls to, proms and dances and tailgates and sports games and all of these different things and then even the Pegasus program and the theater programs, we need female actors for those things too, or actresses for that too, of course. So there are plenty of opportunities to meet girls, especially because we're in a densely populated area. We have so many other high schools surrounding us, Trinity, RBC, the public high schools. So there's plenty of opportunities to meet girls. As I was talking about earlier, CBA is going to develop your character, your morality, and it's going to turn you into a respectful young man. And when you go to college and go to a co-ed environment, you are going to learn how to treat women well because and meet other women and
Gerald just froze on us at a key moment there. But I think if I could pick up from where he left off, there we go, you're back.
I'm back? I'm sorry about that. I don't know where exactly I left off, but when you integrate,
there you go.
When you integrate back into college, the skills and the moral development and character development you learned at CBA will help you thrive in a co-ed environment too. So please don't worry about that, but it is a wonderful question. And I hope my Wi-Fi works now.
No, thank you for those responses. So what I'd like you guys to think about now, and I'm going to ask you each to answer this question as we wrap up here. And Dan, this question is going to come to you first. And so if you could think about the growth that you've gone through since you first walked in, since you first walked in that Spanish class, the growth that you've gone through since your first day at CBA, to now, in your case where with you and Ryan, you're getting ready to go into your senior year next year, Connor getting ready to go into your sophomore year, and Gerald getting ready to go into your junior year in college. Tell us a little bit about that growth that you have experienced and how has CBA helped you to achieve that?
Well, my biggest area of growth is like so in running, we'll simply put I'm faster now. Okay, so that's like a joke, but so
There you
CBA
go.
it really it taught me how to being on a team. It taught me commitment and how to be like a true team player. Because like in the classroom at CBA, you guys everyone works together to achieve this common goal at CBA, and everyone's we're brothers. It's a family, and see, I've also learned how to focus on the long run in life. See, at CBA, I always I when I first came here, I was thinking about like, see, like I was not doing so good on a test, or like I wasn't running that fast. But when I focused on the long run, I could see how like the commitment and the hard work and managing my time, I could get better. And it doesn't matter how I'm doing in the present, but as long as I keep working hard, I could get there. And I also learned self-respect, self-esteem, and looking out the bright side of things at CBA.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. Ryan, what about you? Same question.
Very similar to what Dan was saying. Learning to just kind of be who you are, and at the same time learning who you are is a very big aspect of CBA, with not just the academic rigor, but like the abundance of clubs and opportunities to get involved. You kind of learn, this interests me, this doesn't interest me, and you kind of learn and piece together what you enjoy in life, and that helps you pick not only hobbies and stuff that you want to do, but also shows you maybe this is what field I want to go into after college and what kind of job I want to have based off what you learn from CBA and what you just learn about yourself. So just learning to be yourself and just staying true to yourself is one big area of growth that CBA has given me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Connor, 1 year in, tell us a little bit about that growth that you've gone through.
I'm gonna keep the common trend of talking about like life rather than school. So
Great.
man, like I've grown as a person so much, even from 1 year, and I can't wait to see myself as a senior, to see how much I've from that baby face and going to freshman year, from that, I don't know, who knows what I'm gonna look like, but just I've always been a social kid who can talk to adults, talk to anyone of any age. But after this year, I really think I grew socially. I have more confidence now. What else? I manage my time way better. What was the thing I was thinking of? I grew closer in my religion. That with the mass, I went to mass like 3 times a week during Lent, before Lent was postponed to coronavirus. But yeah, there's so much opportunity for you to grow at CBA. You can really, really, really become such a great person at that school, and it's really something to look forward to. So, just a lot of growth in 1 year, and I can't wait to see what's held for me the next coming years.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Gerald, looking back now, 2 years post graduation from CBA, how have you seen yourself grow from the time you stepped foot on campus as a freshman?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll finish how I started, talking about opportunity. CBA provides you with an abundance of opportunity in every field academically you can think of, and then outside of the classroom as well, with athletics and service and theater and all the various clubs. Whatever you want to pursue in life, you will be able to pursue at CBA in the highest form of excellency. And when you pursue those things, that's how you're going to grow. That's what's going to prepare you for college and for the real world. The rigorous academics will make you into an intellectually capable man. The service component will make you into an other-centered person who knows how to give back to his community. The clubs will help you integrate into social situations. And I can keep going. And of course, as Connor mentioned so well, you are going to become closer to your faith if you do practice Catholicism. What an outstanding opportunity CBA provides to really form your character and become a true Christian man. So I really urge all of you to go. It was the best decision I've ever made. And I could, again, as a college student, I could speak directly to the fact that it does truly prepare you for college and the real world. I utilize the gifts and talents I received and the skills I received from CBA every single day. So thank you for inviting me back to speak to you guys. And I hope to see you on campus one day.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, if we were in the auditorium, you would be all getting a rousing round of applause right now. And so I know we are all applauding you from our home, all four of you, because you have been really so candid in sharing your very personal experiences. I do hope that, you know, all of you who have joined us on these calls, you know, these are young men that you will have the opportunity to meet in the future. We, you know, very much are looking forward to the time in the fall that we will be able to have groups on campus in an event style in whatever way that is going to end up being. And so I ask you to stay tuned about that down the line as we move forward in the next couple of months and are able to start planning some events. We are very committed not only to bringing our students back to school, but we are very committed in being able to open our doors and have some of those events and invite you in and give you the opportunity not just to see the building, which is important, yes, but to meet the people, to meet the students, to meet the faculty, the coaches, the club advisors, to meet all of the people for whom CBA is really such a special place. And so I do ask you to stay tuned for that information as it comes out over the course of the summer. I will be following up an email with a link to all of our recordings, with a couple of links to different spots on our website to just be able to provide you access. But please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You know, I am looking forward to the fact that this won't be the only time that I get to speak and we get to speak with all of you. And we really look forward to sharing more of CBA with you in the coming months and certainly in the coming years. I invite everyone to have a joyful summer, a safe summer, a healthy summer, and a blessed summer. And with that, I think we will say goodbye for right now. And we will see you all very soon, and take care. So bye-bye, and thank you for joining us.